Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar on reimagining clinical translations with AI. My name is Pooja Sood, and I'll be your host and facilitator for today's session. On behalf of the entire Cloudbyz team, we are thrilled to have you with us as we explore how AI is transforming clinical translations. In today's global research landscape, language is often the invisible barrier between sites, sponsors, and patients. But with AI driven innovations, we are bridging that gap, not by replacing human expertise, but by empowering it. We'll discuss why translation has become a critical operational focus, how automation and intelligence are changing the game, and what's next for AI in eClinical workflows. A few housekeeping notes to make sure you have the best experience today. This session is recorded and you'll receive the recording and presentation slides shortly after the webinar. Your microphones are muted, but please feel free to drop your questions anytime in the Q&A panel. We'll answer them live during the Q&A at the end of the session. If you experience any technical issues, please feel free to message us in the chat and our team will help you right away. And with that, we'll move on to the agenda today. We'll cover a quick overview of Cloudbyz and our speakers. We'll be introducing what Cloudbyz AI Innovation Lab is all about. We'll go through why translations are surging in global clinical trials, discuss key use cases for translation, document translation lifecycle. We'll give you an introduction of Cloudbyz ClinTranslate AI, along with the demo, and we will conclude the session with the Q&A. We're super excited for this session and hope you are as well. But before, I just wanted to set a quick context on who we are and what we do, especially for those who are joining us for the first time. Cloudbyz is one of the fastest growing AI-enabled eClinical solutions provider built 100% on the Salesforce platform. This offers a unique blend of scalability, modularity, and configurability to fit any organization's needs. Our mission is simple: to empower sponsors, CROs, and research sites to conduct faster, smarter, and more connected clinical trials, hence reducing operational complexity while ensuring global regulatory compliance. Our comprehensive AI-enabled suite spans the entire trial lifecycle, starting with the CTMS, which is a flagship solution for end-to-end trial oversight and site management, the CTFM to manage budgets, site payments, and financial tracking end-to-end, the eTMF, which is our document management tool, which ensures your regulatory compliance and inspection readiness, the EDC, with its drag and drop study builds, is our data management tool, our safety and pharmacovigilance, which streamlines case management and signal detection across the clinical safety continuum. We are also shaping the future of clinical research through our AI-powered platform, which is the clinicalwave.ai, which includes ClinRedact AI, ClinExtract AI, and ClinTranslate AI. Beyond technology, Cloudbyz has been featured in the Everest Group PEAK Matrix as a leading eClinical solutions provider and recognized by the Inc. 5000 as one of the fastest growing companies in America. Our solutions integrate seamlessly with your existing system to create a unified workflow that drives collaboration and compliance at every step. Globally, we are headquartered in Chicago, USA, with our regional offices in Toronto and a delivery center in Bengaluru, allowing us to support customers across all the time zones. All Cloudbyz solutions are fully compliant with FDA 21 CFR Part 11, GCP, HIPAA, and other global standards. Along with that, we are proudly ISO 9001 and 27001 certified and listed among the top 5 emerging pharmacovigilance startup by Startup US. For more information about us, you can visit www.cloudbyz.com or contact info@cloudbyz.com to book a personalized demo. We look forward to helping you bring life-saving therapies to market faster and improve patients' life worldwide. And with that, I'm excited to introduce our speaker panel for today, starting with Archit Pathak, who is our Senior Product Manager at Cloudbyz and leads design and innovation behind our AI-enabled solutions. And with that, we have Tanir, Life Sciences Solutions Manager, and works very closely with the customers to bring AI into everyday clinical operations and will be walking us through that data today. And with that, I'll hand it over now to our first speaker, Sunir. Sunir, over to you.
Thank you so much, Pooja, for setting the introductions and the agenda for this meeting. I would now like to take the discussion forward. And, in fact, I'm as excited as you are to explore how artificial intelligence is not just changing how we translate words, but in fact, how we translate understanding in clinical research itself. And that's actually, a very deliberate choice of words, because in clinical research, we're not just dealing with sentences and semantics. We are, in a way, dealing with the meaning that directly impacts our patient safety, informed consent, and overall, the regulatory integrity of the trial. So while AI definitely opens up extraordinary possibilities for other sectors, which includes faster translation, scalable multilingual support, and a whole host of other things. In life sciences, we do need to move forward very cautiously and responsibly. And that's why at Cloudbyz, we are very intentional about developing responsible AI frameworks that always keep a human in the loop. Our approach is not to replace linguists, clinicians, or regulatory experts, but rather to empower them. Our AI assists with speed and consistency, while the human ensures accuracy, empathy, and compliance. So, with that preset, let's deep dive into what purpose does the Cloudbyz AI Innovation Lab serve. So at Cloudbyz, our AI journey is guided by one principle, which is data science and purpose. Combining data and science, and delivering the purpose for our end customers. And so the institution, the Cloudbyz AI Innovation Lab, is not just a technology hub in itself. It is in fact, it's in fact a foundation where our product engineering meets real world problem solving. The problems that our sponsors, our CROs, and our sites are facing in managing day to day trials. And we focus on making our AI solutions explainable, definitely regulatory aligned, and purpose built for the clinical domain. So now with that, let me briefly touch upon our four core focus areas. The first one is on product innovation, where we are embedding AI across CTMS, eTMF, EDC, and PV to accelerate trial operations and decision making. The second is customer empowerment, where we aim to co-create AI solutions with CROs and sponsors for real-world ROI. Third is industry advancement, wherein our partnership with Salesforce and other platform providers definitely help us, definitely help us to accelerate and improve the AI adoption that definitely meets the ICH GCP guidelines, as well as the European and the global guidelines which are already set. And finally, last but not the least, definitely responsible AI, wherein transparency, fairness, and auditability is kind of baked into every AI feature that we are coming up with. So, as closing notes here, our mission is not just to innovate, but to enable the responsible adoption of AI in clinical research, ensuring that technology augments the human touch and definitely, does not replace it completely. In fact, to quote statistics here, in fact, not long before, just in 2024, I guess, there was a report that DI had published which said that over 60% of trial delays are linked to documentation readiness, where translation was, in fact, one of the critical contributors. Similarly, another report also quoted that sponsors now spend up to 7% of their study budget in translations, and this cost is expected to grow, as the European Union CTR's lay summary mandate also comes into effect. So it's quite critical at this point of time, and with those figures in mind, let's move forward to the next slide. Okay, so now let's take a let's just take a step back and ask, like, why are we discussing about translations all of a sudden? Why is that suddenly becoming such a critical factor in clinical research? And you might have already guessed the answer here. The most obvious and the correct answer, both, is globalization of the trials, where over half of today's registered clinical studies are conducted outside mainland US. And as per NIH's, and this is as per NIH's records. And with this diversification of the region also comes in linguistic diversity as well. In fact, if you really look at industry figures up close, you will see that e-consent adoption has grown almost 3x between 2020 to 2024. And this means that, digital consent forms now need to be localized and made culturally adaptive to the participants who are, like, to whom these e-consent forms are being presented. Additionally, 47% of all sponsors, in fact, now report difficulty in enrolling non-English speakers participants, as per a tough study that was done a while back. And in fact, if you add to this, the European Union has very recently come out with the good lay summary practice, which now mandates that lay summaries for all trials, they need to be drafted in the official language of that trial country, the country where the trial has been happening. So, to sum it all, these aren't just compliance requirements. These are, in fact, ethical as well as regional imperatives, if I must say. If participants can't really understand what they are consenting to, or if the local regulators or the coordinators at the sites, they can't interpret your documents accurately, the documents by the sponsors, then definitely the study is at risk, right? Because there is a misalignment of communication between the one who has designed the study and the person on whom the study is to be conducted. So, to sum it all up, translation is definitely not a back office job as it was previously. It is, in fact, a strategic enabler of access, equity, and definitely accelerating the pace of modern clinical trials. Moving to the next slide. Okay, so now if we look at the key cases, the key use cases for translation, we will see that it's pretty much applicable everywhere, across the trial life cycle, right from the very first outreach all the way till the final public disclosure. Like, in fact, translation is, in fact, not a one-time task anymore. It's a continuous companion all throughout the study's life cycle. Now, let's start from the very beginning, wherein we have the recruitment and the awareness process. Now, this is where participants would first learn about the study through websites, advertisements, eligibility screeners, or in fact, study brochures. And so and in fact, you would be surprised to know that there was a very recent study that was done a couple of years back that said in fact almost half of the global patients, in fact, struggle to understand a language, if it is not presented in their native language. And this is, in fact, a communication barrier. And and not just a communication barrier. If you have to correctly classify it, this is, in fact, an access barrier to that particular trial itself. Now, moving on, from the recruitment, you move to onboarding and consent. So, this stage includes e-consent forms, HIPAA, GDPR notices, and even multimedia explainers. And this is where precision matters all the more. And uh, translating a consent form isn't just about just having a word for word accuracy for it. It's about ensuring that the comprehension is accurate and aligned to the regional nuances wherever the study is getting conducted, and also to kind of make sure that the person who is consenting is has been correctly informed in the decision making process. And regulators like EMA and FDA are now very clear that translated consent materials must convey the same ethical and clinical meaning as we have in the original language drafts. The next major area is EQA and EPRO instruments, the digital patient reported outcome questionnaires. But these require not only translations, but also cultural adaptations as well. A pain scale or a symptom diary that makes sense in one region, might very well not make cultural sense, in a different region. And for that reason, you will have to kind of ensure there is like linguistic validation that comes into play whenever you are translating such EQA instruments and you're deploying it. Next up, we have patient instructions and visit materials, where everything from dosing guides and IDs come into the picture. But these materials, they directly, affect a patient's compliance and protocol adherence. And as you might have, already realized or would have thought about it, a poorly translated instruction leaflet um, you know, can literally not inform the patient, or can literally keep your patient from accurately dosing, and in fact, cause dosage errors or missed visits. So definitely, translation, correct translation, both in terms of regional and any other nuances are non-negotiable in this case as well. Then we have site and HCP enablement, and this includes manuals, SOPs, device levels, training decks. Um, and so in this case as well, consistent translation will ensure operational alignment and regulatory compliance as well. Finally, when we come to safety and regulatory, we have the SUSARs and SIOM narratives, wherein we will need to ensure that translation happens according to the regulatory guidelines and the regulatory bodies to which it is submitted. And so you see, like, starting right from the point where you have a patient coming in for recruitment, or you're reaching out to a patient for recruitment, all the way till you are uh, submitting, or you have a SUSAR, or you are submitting a safety report, you have translation which is required all the way through. It's basically a continuum that you see all the way across the entire life cycle of a clinical trial. So now moving to the next slide. So now we have got to understand what are the use cases, and wherever across a trial translation is necessary. Now let us go through wherein the process of document translation, yeah, step by step. So again, the process, again, it might depend on your SOPs that you might have across different across your organizations, or if you're working with service providers, you would have specific SOPs. But then more or less, talking from a generalistic perspective, this is how a standard process would behave, and you will have your variations coming in depending on the providers and the region where you're working. So you start with document preparation and scoping, wherein we understand the study type, the target markets, and the regulatory requirements. Following that comes the terminology and glossary creation, wherein we are defining control vocabularies, bedrock codes, and study-specific lexicons. That come Once that is done, then we move to the translation and cultural adaptation piece, wherein we are translating both the language as well as ensuring that the cultural context is met. And up next is the linguistic validation and the back translation, wherein we are ensuring the equivalence between the original and the translated versions. Following that, we have a multi-tier review and quality assurance, wherein there are multiple steps. There are multiple steps to checking that is done by native experts, care leads, and sometimes even medical writers. And finally, we have the regulatory submissions and archiving, wherein submitting to local ethics committees, ethic boards also happen here. So so that is how this process happens end to end. And the the problem that we see here, or the gap that we see here, is that this life cycle is highly fragmented. It is being done by institutions, sponsors, and service providers at different locations. Different parties come together to undertake this translation life cycle, and it all becomes a mess because you have multiple stakeholders working across different areas. And this is where we feel that our AI solution can definitely bring in some accelerations and speed, definitely not replacing the human, but then just enabling him and providing him with AI-based efficiency in getting the job done much quicker than what a human can do if he works without any technology support. So with that, we move to the next slide, wherein we talk of the industry challenge, and wherein Cloudbyz's Clin Translate AI really comes into effect here. So as we just said, right, like, today's studies are global, and in global studies, every document from CRFs to training materials must be translated quickly and accurately into multiple languages. But the process today is slow, manual, as well as expensive. It often involves several vendors, multiple file formats, and lengthy human QA cycles. Now, add to this, trials are getting increasingly decentralized today, and with that, challenge, whatever we spoke about, in fact, just compounds. Um, to talk numbers, a single phase 3 trials can in fact have over 50,000 translated assets across 20 plus countries. So, just think of the scale, and So, and at this scale, if you do not, work in sync, you do not have technology enabled, you just work with service providers across, just think of, one miss, and, how, like, it would all fall across like a block of bricks. So this is exactly the problem that we're trying to solve with Cloudbyz Clean Translate AI. Definitely, just to reiterate myself, we're not trying to replace human translators here, but to empower them with intelligent context, automation, and consistency. So yeah, with that, I would hand over the mic to Arshit, who is our product manager for the AI solutions, and he will talk about our Clean Translate AI solution, which is the next slide, and also give you a live demonstration of our product. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Tunir. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Archit Pathak. I'm part of the product and AI innovation lab over here. I'm a senior product manager over here at Cloudbyz, and I'm also leading the innovation lab, bringing in AI across our products. So yeah, I get to work at the fun on the fun stuff. Uh, Having said that, our vision at AI Innovation Lab, I would just like to, before we get started with the real demo, I would just reiterate a little bit about what AI Innovation Lab is. I'm sure a lot of you would have received our newsletters or would have come across our social media post about the launch of the, brand new innovation lab over here at Cloudbyz. Again, just to briefly touch upon, it's not just for the vision goes beyond just our product innovation. It's more about enabling the broader clinical research community to adopt AI responsibly and effectively, also helping with onboarding with real world problems. So that's where most of our solutions are tailored to use case or volume related problems which are repetitive and monotonous and can be fixed with AI. That's where we are trying to innovate, and that's where we came across this Clin Translate AI, which is the idea behind this is basically to help humans in expediting the overall clinical trial and less from the vision of removing any humans from the cycle. So that's clearly not the agenda. I would say the key differentiator with Clin Translate AI is the ability to understand clinical context first. That's what we are trying to train the agent on. Uh, and when I say agent, it's just a review agent which resides within the platform and not as a generic agent which you have probably seen across, sending out emails, notifications, doing repetitive tasks for you. So this agent is more of a interim reviewer for you before the actual human comes into place, comes into action. So that's where this agent kind of goes through the document. It automatically analyzes if the document, depending on how the org is set up. For those few who are attending our webinar for the first time, our platform is built on Salesforce. Our entire Cloudbyz eClinical suite is built on Salesforce, so it gives us a high amount of flexibility in terms of how we can control stuff, change things within the platform, catering to your needs. So utilizing the same platform, what we have done is right now to begin with, so the prototype that you're just going to see is basically trained to look at documents which are not in English. So let's say German, Spanish, and French. These are the three languages we are beginning with, and translate them to English. Uh, Over the time, we are planning to roll out very soon. We are planning to roll out translation from English to these languages as well. But that's just to mention, that's what we are going to see over here right now. And again, as I mentioned, the agent is trained on specific terms, like, especially the clinical terms that we are using, like, for example, adverse events, case report forms, patient diaries, you name it. So all of these, excuse me, all of these keywords are something that has been, feeded into the AI. So it knows, it understands clinical, it speaks clinical before it speaks any human language, of course. Adapting to the tone of phrasing and patient-facing versus regulatory documents. This is something that we have noticed across most of the translation elements that we have come across. Any products which are already existing, they are not they don't which is at least the ones which are AI based. They don't speak like a human does, right? So I'm sure right now, as Tunir already mentioned, most of the translation happens via an agency. So that is mostly done by a human, or a human is at least there in the review. So that same thing goes over here as well. But what we are also focusing on training the AI to do is speak like a clinical human, and less of like a AI and just translate one line at a time. Apart from that, what we are also trying to do is a lot of translations happen, documents that require translation happen to have a lot of abbreviations in the local language, which also needs to be carefully translated into, let's say if you're translating it to English, it has the abbreviations also need to translate to English. Similar to that, there are also at the same time, there are certain keywords which stay the same. They do not really change with the language. So those kind of nuances are something that we are training the AI on, while not just trying to build yet another translation application. And the whole idea is, when the agent knows what document it is working on and how a human would actually do it, it can provide the translations with consistency across terminologies, sites, languages, no matter what you're doing. So that's the idea over here. With that, Pooja, can we move on to the next slide? All right, let's move on to the demo. Pooja, Tunir, is my screen
Yeah,
visible?
it's visible. Yep.
Awesome, perfect. All right. So to begin with, what we'll do is we'll just we'll use our eTMF application. We'll start. Let's take a look at. I'm sure a lot of you would have attended our previous webinars and seen eTMF. For those who have not, this is how our eTMF kind of looks like. Your landing page, and again, this is just a demo org that I use for as part of our internal uh, development. So it might not be the exact live demo that you would see. The live demo org actually comes with a lot more real-time data and much better dashboards. So don't quote me on this. Uh, but more or less, this is how the application looks to begin with. When you come to eTMF, you have your entire dashboard over here. On the left-hand side, you have an option to choose which application you want to access. CTMS, CTFM, EDC, eTMF and all. We'll stick with. I'll not go much deeper into this. If any one of you are interested in exploring our eTMF further, please feel free to reach out to us. You might have our contact links already available, or you'll receive an email with the same. Uh, let's move on. So let's take a look at a study. I've already set up a sample study over here. I'm just calling it oncology study. It has nothing to do with oncology trial. It's just a sample data set that I have created. Uh, just a basic fields all over here. And this is what I was telling you, since it is built on Salesforce. So these fields can be customized per your requirement in terms of what kind of, let's say if you don't want a particular field or you want to bring in a new field, that's absolutely straightforward to do. Now, let's say if I go to eTMF, I'll see all my folders over here on the left-hand side. So these are all the root folders with the study folders with the study name. And within the study, this is our standard template that we have set up. A holding area, study level, country level, and site level zones, documents, folders. And within study level, I'm just using a standard DIA template. Along with that, what I've done is I've created a sample folder, which by the way, the platform allows you to do. You can create your own custom folders over here. And what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and upload a file. So I'm using a German ICF. Let me just open the sample file and show you. So this is an ICF in German that I'm going to upload, and we'll see how you can actually go ahead and translate it with just a click of a button. Let me upload this over here. And this is just one way how you upload a file. There are multiple other ways. So for example, you can upload a file within CTMS and move it directly to eTMF, since all the applications comes pre-integrated out of the box. So Yeah, this is not the only way. But if I go here, now the file is uploaded. By default, it is sorted by new one first. So this is a quick glance at the file. If I go to the actual artifact record, my file is uploaded. On the left, I can see a quick preview of the file, and on the right hand side, there are certain uh, metadata fields that have already been auto-populated. Some are driven by rules, and there is an extended version of uh, metadata enrichment, which is currently in progress by, which is being worked upon by our team, is to automatically enrich the entire metadata from the file. So hopefully by during the next month's webinar, we'll be able to give you a quick sneak peek around that. But for now, this is just a sample, a couple of fields do get auto-populated when you upload them. Uh, what I'll do is, let's just go ahead and click this translate button over here, which you have. Again, this is a demo. We can, create it with a button, with the help of a button or an automated task. All that is possible. Now, what happens in the background is just a quick update. The system will take up the file, it will send it to our translation module, and that basically reviews the file, tries to predict the source language in which the file is, and based on that automatically convert it to English. So I'm not specifying at this stage whether it is a German file, or it is a French file, or what is the language, and I'm asking the system to automatically identify it, and if it is not in English, convert it into English. So now if I go ahead and just refresh the page, if you see here, the system has automatically identified that this is German. It has, what it also does is, as part of, since we want to have a version control in place, the translated file is created as a separate artifact and stored and attached to the source artifact. Now, this is where your translated file resides. Let's take a look at this, and the translation date is stamped. Document version, document total number of pages, all of this is available, but this is not translated. I mean, this is not the translated file, so this is unchecked. And this, since this is the source file, so this is blank. If I go to the translated file, what I see over here is, if you see here, the translated file is associated to the source file, which is our previous 978 artifact. And the entire translation has happened. If you see, the file is already in English. Uh, what I'm trying to show over here is not just the process of translation, how streamlined it is. Now, the source language, since it is in German, we can also build, extend the capabilities to wherein you can specify to what language you want this translated to. So all that is possible. Now, if we quickly take a look at this, what we are also trying to do as part of the translation is retain the actual format of the file. So the format in which you uploaded the original file, the translated file pretty much mimics the exact same format. Now, so far, it is able to, read not just, system generated files, but, we have tested with handwritten text as well. And that's one of the reason why we are rolling out one language at a time, rather than, just opening it to the suite of languages, because right now LLMs can pretty much process most of the languages available, but we don't want to go that route. So we would rather, stick with a couple of languages first, test it out completely, work with you guys, and, look at a couple of real world scenarios, understand, if how the world responds to this, and then gradually go on adding more languages to this. So having said that, that's just a quick glance through it. We would love to showcase, just to keep a track on the time, we would love to showcase uh, the extended version of this, in terms of, we can work with you on your dedicated documents as well if you want. And I would love to have further conversations around that. So feel free to reach out to us, after this, if you would like to take a deeper look into this. But this is just a quick glimpse of how seamless it is to translate the document. Now, another thing, sorry, which I missed is, whenever your translation is ready, you actually have a preview translation available, where you see the original file here itself, and you can just switch to the translated version of the file. and it takes you to the translated file. Now you can download it from here, move it to another PDF folder, change the folder, send it down, send it, attach it to an email and send it over. It's all possible right from the application itself. Now, excuse me. Having said that, let's move on. So that's pretty much what we are trying to cover over here. Just a quick glimpse around this. With that, I would leave the idea over there with you guys to grasp it in. Feel free to think about it. If you see that there is a real world use case, we would love to work with you and extend this use case across your entire application process, trial process. And what we saw today is just the beginning, as I've said. It's just a foundation of the translation layer that we are trying to build over here at Cloudbyz. Slowly getting at languages one at a time, and uh, making sure that the translation is precise and eventually compliant. We are not trying to generate any translation certifications to be precise. We are not trying to be a certification authority who are certifying our translations and giving you certifications for the translated copies. What we are trying to do is, as we all said initially, we're just trying to assist with the translation so that the translation itself doesn't take days. Rather, it can be done in minutes or say, hours, and eventually bring in a human in the loop who can actually review the translated file, figure out whether it has efficiently done it or not. Because just like every other AI, you don't blindly trust an AI 100%. You need a human in the loop. It might miss out some things. It might not recognize a couple of features. For example, a very huge problem we have seen is if the quality of the scan quality of the image is not too high, it usually doesn't recognizes the characters itself. So that again is a benchmark which we have to crack. Uh, I've seen a lot of products in the market already who claim to do that, but the problem is again, uh, you can't 100% believe it because it's still not AGI. Right, it still sees what it can only see to a certain extent the way it has been programmed, and after that, after a point of time, run across compliance, and this is not an industry where we can take that chance. So having said that, I would like to close it over here. This Just moving on to the next steps. This is something that is coming up as part of the next products that we are either actively working on or coming up in the next few weeks. I would say weeks to months. Integrating translation across the board. With signatures, signature submission right from the bat. You translate the document, submit it for signatures, and also extend this possibility to other languages and bring in e-consent forms and straight up submission on templatization and submissions. As part of another big project which is already in works is protocol reading and setting up the entire study automatically within the platform as part of our entire CTMS and EDC. uh, Agentic volunteer and site selection is something that the team is also working on parallelly. And as I mentioned, metadata extraction and QC health check will be soon available in eTMF. That's it from my end. Pooja, over to you.
Thank you so much, Archit and Tunir, for such an insightful session. I believe we were able to add more information and more knowledge to your repertoire today. But anyways, we'll move on to the Q&A session now. Um, if there are any questions for our speakers, you could drop them in the chat or the Q&A tab. And Archit, like Archit Tanir, while we wait for our participants to share their queries, I was wondering if there were any frequently asked questions that you've come across as part of your research, while you were building this product.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, that's an interesting question, Pooja. So We are working with a couple of customers, and what we frequently understand, get is something that I briefly touched upon as well when I was giving the demo. It's not just, most of the translation elements, tend to lose the context so let's say if we are working across a large document, through the entirety of the document, the overall context of, let's say even if you are talking about paragraph, the things paragraph by paragraph or letter, sentence by sentence, by the end of the file, the overall context with which let's say if the summary, it's a summary report, right? The context of the summary itself is lost. So that is a frequent problem that we have seen in this, especially when translations happen with AI, and that's something that we are trying to take care of by um, uh, training the AI in a particular way that it understands how a human would actually translate it, and then review it all over again. So that's one of it. I would say that I have at least been asked multiple times.
Sounds good. And actually, we just got a question. So, how many languages do you like? How many languages do we have set up and running at the moment?
As of now, as I said, German is something that we have extensively worked with. Apart from this, we are working with Spanish and French, and slowly we want to expand it to more languages. But yeah, these are the three that we are kind of working with right now.
Okay. And if we have any more questions, I guess we still have some time left.
And as I said, meanwhile, if anybody is writing the question, we'll still be here. So thank you so much, everyone. But in the meantime, if you guys would want to just talk about this, you see a use case in your real world application, feel free to reach out to us. We would love to discuss or brainstorm on the idea and see how we can work with you on setting this up, and give you a extended walkthrough of this.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think then we'll just close the session. And just before that, I just wanted to call out. So we'll be at the World Drug Safety Conference in Boston next week. If you or anyone in your team is participating at the event, please do drop by at our booth 421. We would love to meet you and we'll love to continue the conversation there. And with that, thank you so much, everybody who has taken the time. Sorry, there's one more question. How many trials are using eClinical systems today, Arjit? I just noticed it.
Well, that's a good one. I don't have the exact numbers, but yeah, if you would like to get details, I can definitely check. I'm pretty sure it's 100 plus.
Yeah, I can take that maybe.
Sunil, yeah, go ahead.
Sure thing. Sure. Yeah, thanks for that question. So, we have, we work with, more than 80 plus active customers. And if we really take into account the customers who have previously used our system to conduct studies, the number would go, well into 100, 120s. And accordingly, if I can, estimate correctly, we would have done more than 5,000 trials on our system. Now, I can't give you an exact number because once we deploy the solution into production, the data, the instance, and everything is owned completely by the customer. Cloudbyz does not own it. So the number of studies that the customer is running on our system is not available with us. And given the sort of licensing that we have, we also allow our customers to conduct a number of studies based on active user licenses that they have. So taking all of that into account, while we cannot give you an exact number, but it should be well over 5 to 5.5 or 6,000 studies that have already been conducted on our platform.
Thank you, Sunil.
Thank you so much, Tunir. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. We'll meet you next month. Thank you very much.